This is SJ. She's a 5-month-old Siberian Lynx. I've had her for about 3 weeks and I have been clicker training her. Sit up. Sit up. Good girl. Basically with clicker training, you ask for the behavior. No. Sit up. And you click whenever they do it. Now, whenever you're starting out, you're only looking for small amounts, so you do it for the slightest try. And she knows how to sit up, wave, high five, sit up. And then she does target and jump into a hoop. Good girl, wave. Now sometimes when you're doing it, you may click at the wrong time and you don't have to worry about that. If you do it now and again, it's not going to hurt anything. Sit. Thank you. Wave. Wave. So even whenever she just raises her paw up a little bit, you can go ahead and click that. As she's doing it more and more and getting better at it, then you would ask for a bigger wave. Sit. Take. Sit. Wave. Now sometimes I'll anticipate and I'll do it before you ask them, and sometimes I'll click that, sometimes I won't. Depending on if they're in a calm mood, I may go ahead and click it. Be fine. If they're doing things and they're really excited, like whenever she does a high five or give you five or she's swiping at you, I generally make her do it a little bit calmer before I actually give her a treat. Just depending on her frame of mind. Whenever they first start out, a lot of times they're very excited, and so you have to give them a few easy things before they'll settle down and work in a clearer frame of mind. Good girl. You're fine. No. And sometimes she gets pretty excited. Wait. Thank you. No. 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 Sit up. There you go. For the most part, whenever they do things that you don't want them to do, you can just ignore it. The only time you wouldn't want to ignore it is if she's doing something like wanting to bite you, and then typically you can do a verbal correction with her and she'll quit. Sometimes, Jade, station. Station. Good girl. Sit. Sit. Sometimes a verbal correction won't be enough and you may have to do something to distract her. So with that, you can, if you have a hoop or something, you can wave it, do something to get her mind off whatever she's excited about. Good girl. So when she does some of her commands, I ask her to sit first. So whenever, in the beginning, whenever she would sit, I would click and then give her the treat. Most of the time now, whenever I ask her to sit, I do not treat her for it because it's something I expect her to do on a regular basis. No. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Wait. Now wait. Good girl. No. Sit up. Good girl. Alright. You want to hop down? There you come. 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 Sit. Anytime I ask her to come to me, I always make her sit before she gets a treat so she's not wanting to jump at me. Typically she'll get pretty excited and she'll try to jump, and so trying to keep her from doing that, we ask her to sit. Good girl. Now for her, teaching her how to jump up for a target, right now I've been using my hand, but she's not supposed to do it until I ask her to do it. Target. Good girl. Come on, Jade. Target. Good girl. Now, if she jumps up at me, whenever I'm not asked her to, I don't do anything, I just ignore it. Now, if she were to bite me, though, I would do a verbal correction. Good girl. Wait a minute, wait. No, I didn't ask you to do that. Come right here. No. Ready? Spin. See, that's what you get for anticipating. You don't know what we're going to do. No. 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 Okay. Spin. Good girl. Target. Good girl. Spin. Good girl. Come on, girl. Station. Good girl, sit. All right. Hoop. Hoop. her first time doing that well. She did very good. You know, station. Good girl. Ready? Hoop. 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 Awesome job. Now, ideally, she would have she would go from what we call one station to another station and have a little bit, I don't know, a better place to land on, but I don't have anything else for her to land on, so right now the beanbag does well. That's it. All right, hoop. Good girl. Okay. Hoop. Good girl. And so most of the time when she jumps to the hoop, I'll make her sit down before I give her the treat. She goes through it calmly, not necessarily, but she usually wants to jump up afterwards, and so if I make her sit after the hoop, she's much calmer. Good girl. And if she doesn't make it all the way through, that's okay, as long as she made the effort. Okay. Hoop. Hoop. Good girl. Now, whenever she does this, a lot of times she lands on me instead of the floor at first, and that's okay. As she gets bigger, good girl. As she gets bigger and you're able to hold the hoop up higher and further away from you, she'll quit doing that. Good girl. Right, hoop. Good girl. Very good. Target. All right. And it helps if you change it up, not do the same thing over and over and over again. You want to do this behavior, that behavior, and go back and forth, because their attention span is very short and you're not going to keep them doing the same thing over and over for long. Jade, come. Come. Good girl. Can you sit? Excellent.